I never thought I'd be sitting here confessing this. Never thought I'd be spilling the kind of truth that could ruin me. Not just professionally, but personally. But maybe that's the point. Maybe some truths demand to be told no matter the cost. My name is David Harris, and I was once a detective in the Denver Police Department. And I made a mistake so catastrophic, so irreparable, that it not only ended my career, it almost destroyed my soul. It started with a call that came late on a Thursday night. My phone buzzed on the nightstand while I was half asleep. Dreaming of nothing and everything at once, I answered, and the voice on the other end cut through the fog like a blade. Detective Harris? We've got a missing person. Emily Carson, 17. Last seen leaving the library at 7 this evening. I rubbed my eyes and sat up. Emily Carson. The name alone triggered a small, nagging knot of unease, though I didn't know why yet. Missing persons cases were never easy. But Emily's case felt different. There was something fragile about her, something painfully ordinary that made you want to protect her. By the time I got to the scene, it was dark. The street lamps flickered along the quiet residential block, and the wind rattled against the windows of the small townhomes. I could see her mother pacing on the curb, phone clutched to her ear, tears streaming freely. Her father was behind her, arms crossed, jaw tight, staring at the asphalt like he could will Emily to appear from it. I knelt to talk to them, my own stomach twisting. "Ma'am, sir, I'm Detective Harris. Can you tell me when she was last seen?" Her mother's voice was trembling. "She was at the library. She called me to say she'd be home for dinner and she never came. She's never done this before. I don't understand." I nodded, forcing calm where I felt none. "Do you know if she had plans with friends? Anyone she might have been with?" "No," her father said, voice low and angry. She's careful. She's smart. She wouldn't just..." He broke off, swallowing hard. I noted every word, every gesture. Every missing child case starts like this: confusion, fear, anger, guilt. But there was something in Emily's parents' faces that set my instincts on edge. Something that said this wasn't going to be simple. Over the next few days, I chased leads, library security footage, interviews with friends, checking social media activity. Nothing concrete emerged. The footage showed her leaving at 7, just like her mother said. But after that, the trail went cold. Her phone was off. No messages, no GPS pings. It was as though she had evaporated. And then came the report. A body found in a nearby park a few miles from her home. The coroner's report was preliminary, but it pointed to accidental death. That was the official line. Emily had tripped, hit her head, and died alone. I remember reading the report and feeling my chest tighten. My mind, trained to question, to dig deeper, to never accept appearances, rebelled. But the department was eager to close the case. Public pressure, media attention. They wanted answers, and quick ones. "You'll close it, right?" my captain asked, sliding the report across the desk. I hesitated. My gut screamed that something was off. But the evidence, thin as it was, seemed to support the accidental death narrative. And I, stupidly, selfishly, wanted out of the pressure cooker. I wanted to end the nightmare, not realize I was walking into a trap of my own making. I filed the paperwork. I closed the case, and in doing so, I sealed my own downfall. At first, nothing happened. The department congratulated me on efficiency, on resolving the matter without unnecessary panic. But then came the phone calls, the emails, the whispers. Emily's friends insisted she would never be alone like that. They knew her habits, her routines. They knew something didn't add up. I remember the first confrontation vividly. I was at my desk, reviewing old files, when a journalist called. She had a sharp, insistent tone. "Detective Harris, are you certain Emily Carson's death was an accident?" I forced a calm tone. "Yes. That's what the investigation concluded." "Are you aware that multiple witnesses saw her being followed from the library that night?" I froze. My pen hovered over a notebook I wasn't writing in. I wasn't aware of that," I stammered. She pressed further, and suddenly, My orderly world of paperwork, official reports, and so-called closure began to crumble. I realized in that instant that I had ignored signs. I had been careless. And the truth, whatever it was still out there, watching me, waiting. That night I drove to the park where the body had been found. It was cold, mist curling along the ground like smoke. The swings creaked in the wind. The same wind that had whispered through the trees the night Emily died. I walked the paths, retracing the coroner's report, replaying the footage, imagining the moments I had overlooked. And I started seeing things. The small footprints by the creek, the discarded bracelet, the way the branches had been disturbed near the footpath. Every detail screamed that this was no accident. I returned to my apartment trembling and pored over the files again. Each page was a dagger. Each overlooked clue a weight pressing down on me. I started checking security tapes from nearby businesses I had previously dismissed. And there she was on one frame, faint but unmistakable. Emily, walking alone, and then a shadow behind her, barely visible but undeniably there. Someone had followed her. I knew then that I had made a catastrophic mistake. And the department, they didn't care. They had moved on. They had praised me for efficiency, for closing the case. But I couldn't move on. I couldn't forget. Weeks passed. The pressure mounted. Colleagues whispered. The media ran pieces questioning my judgment. And I, once confident, once proud, was reduced to a hollow shell, haunted by the knowledge that I had betrayed the very oath I had sworn to uphold. Then came the confrontation that destroyed me entirely. I was called into a meeting with the captain. The office was cold, fluorescent lights harsh against the gray walls. He sat behind his desk, arms crossed, eyes hard. "Detective Harris," he began, voice measured but sharp. "We've received new information regarding the Carson case." I felt my stomach drop. What information? He slid a folder across the desk. "Witnesses, surveillance, reports we hadn't seen before. It seems Emily didn't die by accident." I swallowed hard. My hands were shaking. I filed the case. We concluded." "You concluded?" he interrupted, voice rising. "Based on incomplete evidence. And now the department is under investigation. The media is circling. Your career, your reputation is in jeopardy." I wanted to defend myself. I wanted to scream that I had acted in good faith. But deep down, I knew it wouldn't matter. I had failed. I had been reckless. And the truth was out there waiting to expose me. The investigation revealed everything. My rushed judgment, the ignored clues, the suppressed doubts. I was stripped of my badge, my credentials, my pension under review. My colleagues avoided me. My friends drifted away. And all the while, Emily's face haunted me, her wide eyes, her terrified expression in the last moments I had imagined her alive. I tried to make amends. I visited her parents, though I knew nothing I said could undo the damage. They looked at me with a mixture of sorrow and barely contained fury. "Detective Harris," her mother said, voice trembling, "you had a duty to her, and you failed. How do you live with that?" I didn't answer. I had no answer. There was no redemption, no excuse, only the long, gnawing weight of guilt. Months later, the truth emerged. The person who had followed Emily that night was arrested, a man with a history of stalking and violence. Evidence confirmed that he had caused her death, and that my hasty closure had delayed justice for weeks. My name was linked to the mishandling of the case in every report, every news segment. My career was over. My life as I knew it was over. I moved to a small town, changed my routines, tried to disappear. But the memories followed me, relentless. Every time I saw a young woman walking alone, my stomach tightened. Every time I heard a child laugh in a park, my chest ached. And now here I am, telling you this story because the burden has become too heavy to carry alone. Because if I don't confess, if I don't confront what I did, I fear I'll collapse under the weight of my own mistakes. I failed Emily Carson. I failed her family. I failed myself. And no amount of apologies, no amount of regret can ever undo that. All I can do is speak the truth, lay it bare, and hope that by telling it, I can somehow prevent another life from being destroyed by my recklessness. I know I'll never forgive myself, but maybe, just maybe, someone out there will learn from my failure. Maybe someone will take their time, look deeper, trust their instincts. Maybe the next detective won't make the same mistake I did. I wish I could tell you there's closure. I wish I could tell you the nightmare ends. But for me, it never will. Every day is a reminder. Every night is haunted. Every time I see a young woman walking home alone, I see Emily's face. And I hear her voice, a whisper in the wind. You should have seen me. I can't change the past. I can't undo the mistakes. But I can tell you this, truth matters. Patience matters. Vigilance matters. And rushing to judgment, rushing to close a case without certainty, can destroy everything. I am David Harris, former detective, former human being of pride and certainty. And I confess I failed. I failed Emily Carson. I failed the system. And I will carry that failure for the rest of my life. The office, the badge, the career, they are gone. But the truth, the burden, the guilt, they are eternal. And maybe that's the only justice left in this world, the unending awareness of what we did wrong, and the faint hope that others will do better. I am telling this story not for redemption, not for sympathy. I am telling it because it needs to be told. Because silence is complicity. Because if I don't say it, who will? I closed Emily Carson's case too quickly, and in doing so, I lost everything.